471 notes on exponent product properties. So we're going to go over the parts of an exponent. Number 2 here represents the coefficient. X represents the base, that's the number being multiplied. And 5 is the exponent, the power. Write in expanded form, so we're going to have the 2, the coefficient, and we have x to the 5th power. That means we're multiplying x 5 times. So we get 2 times x times x times x times x times x. Laws of exponents. So we've got the product of powers is one of the laws, and we're taking a to the m times a to the n. So our bases are the same. We're multiplying the same base number, and we have the exponents. So what's going to happen is whenever we multiply powers like this, it ends up that the exponents get added together. So we're going to be adding the exponents whenever we're multiplying the same base together. Write in expanded form and then simplify. So x squared is going to be x times x. X to the 5th is going to be x times x times x times x times x. So I've got, how many do I have total? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I'm multiplying in total. So that's going to be x to the 7th. And if you'll notice, I'll take 2 plus 5, and that equals 7. Number 2, I have 3 x's, 1, 2, 3, and 4 y's. 2, 3, 4. And then I have 1 x and 5 y's. Well, when I multiply these all back together, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 x's now. So I have the 3 plus the additional 1, 3 plus 1, and I get x to the 4th power. And then I have these 4 that I've multiplied together, and now I'm multiplying another 5. So 4 plus 5 is 9. So I'm adding the exponents together. 3 plus 1 was 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. Number 3, I get 2 and I get 3 x's. 1, 2, 3 times 3 and 2 x's times 4 and an x times negative 4. So with the coefficients, you are going to go ahead and multiply those together. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. And then we're going to add our exponents. I've got 1, 2, 3 here, 2 here, so that gives me 5, plus another 1 gives me 6. So I get x to the 6th power. So again, adding the exponents, 3 plus 2 plus 1 equals 6. So when multiplication is our operation, what are we multiplying? What are we adding? We are multiplying the bases. And we are adding the exponents. Okay, on examples 4 through 7, simplify without writing it in expanded form. Okay, so example 4, I'm going to take my exponents. All my bases are m, so then I just add my exponents. I get 3 plus 4 is 7, and this one becomes a 1. 7 plus 1 is 8, so I get m to the 8th power. Number 5, I have 2 different bases, so I'm going to look at my base x first, and I've got 1 here and 2 here. I'm going to add the exponent, so I get x to the 3rd power. Then I move to my second base, y to the 5th times y to the 4th, and I'm going to add my exponents. 5 plus 4 is 9. Number 6. I'm going to go ahead and multiply my coefficients together first. So I've got 5 times 3, and that gives me 15. Then I'm going to look at my bases. I have 3 different bases. So I've got a. So I'm going to look at my a's. I've got 1a here and 2a here. So I add those together, and I get a to the 3rd. I'm going to move to base b. I have 2 b's here, and I have 1 b here. 2 plus 1 is 3. So I have b to the 3rd power. And then I go to my c's. C to the third times c to the fourth. That means I'm going to have c to the 7th power when I add the exponents together. Number 7. Again, I'm going to go ahead and multiply my coefficients. So 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times negative 6 is negative 60. And then I'm going to look at each base. I have two different bases here. So I have my x's. So I have 4, 5, and 2 x's. So I'm going to add those together. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. So I have x to the 11th power. Then I'm going to go back and look at my y's. I have 1 here and 2 here. So that means I have y to the 3rd power. Okay, our next law of exponents is power to a power and power of a product. Okay, power to a power. I'm raising a power to a power. That means the a to the m becomes the base. So whenever I'm raising a power to a power, we're going to end up multiplying the two exponents together when it's raised from a power to a power. When I have the power of a product, and my product is 3 times a to the m, I do have to apply the power to the coefficient, so that's going to be 3 to the nth power, and then I'm going to apply the power to the base, so that's going to be a to the m times n. So again, we're going to be multiplying the exponents together. So example number 8 here. Write in expanded form, then simplify. Okay, well, x to the 4th raised to the 2nd power. So x to the 4th is my base. So I'm going to have x to the 4th times x to the 4th. Okay, now our law of products comes in because now I'm multiplying x to the 4th times x to the 4th, and we add the exponents at this point. So I get x to the 8th power. Now, because I expanded it, let's look back and see. If I multiply 4 times 2, do I get 8? And yes, I do. Go on to page 2. Okay, number 9, write in expanded form. Okay, everything inside the parenthesis becomes the base. So that's going to be a to the 3rd b squared, there's 1 times a to the 3rd b squared, there's the 2nd power, and a to the 3rd b squared becomes the 3rd power. Okay, now from here I'm still multiplying all these together, so I go back to the product of powers law, and I'm going to take each of the bases and add the exponents together. So I have 3, 3, and 3, that gives me a to the 9th, and I've got 2 plus 2 plus 2, that gives me b to the 6th. Now let's double check. So if I take a to the 3rd power times 3, I get 9, and b to the 2nd power times 3, I get 6. So multiplying the powers here gives me the same answer, a to the 9th, b to the 6th. Number 10, I'm going to expand 5x to the 4th y squared to the 2nd power. So 5x to the 4th y squared is to the 1st power, and 5x to the 4th y squared is to the 2nd power. So here I am going to go ahead and multiply my coefficients, and I get 25. And then I go back to my product of powers, and I have x to the 4th times x to the 4th, and I add the exponents. So I get x to the 8th, and add my exponents for the base of y, and I get x to the 4th. So let's go back and see our power to a power, or actually this would be the power of a product. So I did apply the square to the 5. 5 times 5 is 25. And I multiply my exponents. 4 times 2, I do get 8. 2 times 2, I do get 4. When there's an exponent outside the parentheses, what is being raised to that power and what is being multiplied by that power? The base is being raised to the power. And the exponent is being multiplied. Okay, so now we want to simplify, and we just want to go ahead and use the power of a power and power of a product properties here. So 5 squared, so that means I need to go ahead and square 5. So 5 times 5 is 25, and I have a base of x, and we're going to multiply the exponents together. So 4 times 2 gives me 8, so I get 25x to the 8th power. Let me go down to number 12. 4ab to the 4th power squared. I am going to apply the square to the 4, so that's going to be 16. 4 times 4 is 16. I have a to the 1st power, so I am going to multiply 1 times 2, and I do get a to the 2nd power. And then I'm going to multiply 4 times 2 with the base of b, and I get b to the 8th power. So it becomes 16a squared b to the 8th. Number 13, I'm raising 6 to the 3rd power. I don't think I can do that in my head, so I'm going to bring up my calculator, and I'm going to type in 6, and then this is my power button over here above the division sign. So I'm going to use that button, 6 to the 3rd power, and that gives me 216. So 6 to the 3rd power equals 216, so I'm going to write 216. And then again, I'm going to multiply my exponents together. So base m is going to be 2 times 3, which is 6. And base n is going to be 1 times 3, which is going to be 3. So I get 216 m to the 6th into the 3rd. Number 14. Okay, I'm going to apply the 4th power to negative 2. Again, I'm going to pull up my calculator. I'm going to put the negative 2 in parentheses. We've had some issues with that. It's better to go ahead and put it in parentheses because it separates the negative sign from the 2 with order of operations. And I'm going to raise that to the power of 4. That little house button right there is the power button. And I get 16. So 2 to the 4th power is 16. And then again, I'm going to multiply my exponents together. So I get x to the 12th. Number 15, again, I'm going to apply my power of 3 to negative 5. And I'm going to get my calculator again. And I'm going to type in negative 5 to the 3rd power. And hit enter, and I get negative 125. So I get negative 125. And I'm going to take and multiply my exponents together. So x squared to the 3rd power is x to the 6th. And w to the 3rd power raised to the 3rd power is w to the 9th. So I get negative 125 x to the 6th, w to the 9th. Number 16, I don't have any coefficients. Oh, actually I do. I have that negative 1 there. So negative 1 to the 1st power. So again, I'm going to type it in, negative 1 to the 5th power. And I'm going to hit enter. Ooh, I get negative 1, so it stays negative. So I get a negative here. And then I'm going to multiply my exponents together. So x to the 7th times 5 is x to the 35. I have 1y. Raised to the 5th power is going to be y to the 5th. And z squared raised to the 5th power, I'm going to multiply z to the 10th. Okay, negatives and exponents. Anytime a negative is raised to an even power, the result is going to be what? Well, if I go back to my calculator here and go back to my screen, negative raised to an even power. Well, here's where I have a negative raised to an even power. It came out positive. Okay, so that's going to be the positive result, and that's because you have pairs of negatives being multiplied together, and anytime you have 2 negatives, it makes a positive. Anytime a negative is raised to an odd power, well, we did several of those. I had negative 5 raised to the 3rd power. Oh, that came out negative. And then I have negative 1 raised to the 5th power. That came out negative. So anytime you raise a negative to an odd power, it's going to be negative. And that's because you got an odd man out. So 2 of those are going to become a positive because negative and negative is positive. And then that 3rd one or that 5th one or that 7th one, that's going to change it back to a negative. Okay, 17, use both laws. So here comes order of operations, and we have exponents that come first, so this applies here as well. So that means I have to evaluate 2m to the 5th squared. Well, I'm going to apply the square to 2, so I'm going to get 4 m to the 10th because I have to multiply the exponents here. And then I've still got the 6m squared times 4m to the 10th. So now my multiplication property comes in. I multiply my coefficients. 6 times 4 is 24, and then I add the exponents when I'm multiplying together. So that gives me m to the 12th. Number 18, again, I need to apply the exponent first. So I'm going to get 2 squared is 4, and then x squared squared is going to be x to the 4th, and y cubed squared is going to be y to the 6th. And again, I'm multiplying my exponents. And then I've got 5xy squared that I'm multiplying. So that goes back to our first property. Multiply your coefficients, and I get 20. And I get x and x to the 4th. So add those together, and I get x to the 5th. And y squared and times y to the 6th is going to give me y to the 8th. Again, I add my exponents at that point. Number 19. I need to do my exponents first, so I'm going to apply 2 squared, so I get 4, and p squared squared is going to be p to the 4th, q to the 5th squared is going to be q to the 10th, and r squared is going to be r squared. And then I have times 4 p q to the 5th. And again, I'm going to go ahead and multiply my coefficients, so I get 16. And multiply my p's together. I'm going to get p to the 5th. Multiply my q's together. I'm going to get q to the 15th. And then multiply my r's, which I only have 1, so it's going to be r squared. Number 20, I have exponents on both of them, so we work left to right. So I'm going to apply 2 to the 4th power, and 2 to the 4th power is going to be 16. And multiply my exponents, so I get x to the 8th, y to the 12th, and then I'm going to apply the exponent in the second parenthesis, so negative 4 squared is going to be positive 16, and multiply my exponents, x to the 6th, y to the 4th, and now I'm going to multiply those together. 16 times 16, 256, so I get 256 x to the, now I add the exponents because I'm multiplying, x to the 14th, y to the 12th times y to the 4th is going to give me y to the 16th. Okay, star examples. Okay, find the area. Well, area is length times width, so I'm going to be multiplying these two quantities together. So I get coefficients, 2 times 4 is 8. And then I multiply my bases. I have 2 here, 1 here, so I've got x to the 3rd power, and y squared times y to the 3rd. I'm going to add the exponents and get y to the 5th. So that's the area, 8x to the 3rd, y to the 5th. Find the volume of a cube with an edge of 6x squared, y to the 5th. Well, that's going to be a power, so 6x squared y to the 5th is going to be raised to the 3rd power because a cube is the sides cubed, and since I have the side, so I'm going to go ahead and apply the cube to the 6, and we found that earlier it was 216, and then I multiply my exponents together, so I get x to the 6th, y to the 15th. So there's my volume, 216, x to the 6th, y to the 15th. Okay, number 3, find the volume of a rectangular prism whose length is 4x squared y, width is 10x to the 5th y squared, and height is x y to the cubed. Well, we know volume is length times width times height, so I'm going to be multiplying 4x squared y times 10x to the 5th y squared times x y to the 3rd. And I'm going to start multiplying my coefficients. So I've got 4 times 10, so that equals 40. And then I'm going to multiply my x bases. So I've got 2 here, 5 here, and 1 here. So that gives me x to the 8th, add 2 plus 5 plus 1. And then I'm going to multiply my y bases. So I've got 1 here, 2 here, and 3 here. That's going to give me y to the 6th. So I'm going to add 1 plus 2 plus 3. And my volume is 40x to the 8th, y to the 6th.